more on that. We turn to our panel. It's really unbelievable. The first, correct me if I'm wrong, Control, but it's the first African-American Miss Alabama. She won in 83, came out today, 93, and said, I see this guy as a martyr. I see the shooter in Dallas, Texas as a martyr. A martyr? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead now.
Cops. So they're getting exactly what they wanted. They wanted us to kill cops, and that's what black people are doing. They're killing cops. They are responding. They are responding.
All right, so we're gonna go. So Jessica in the front. Hold on. Jessica is part of Black Lives Matter.
Has never called for the shooting of violence against anyone. Period.
What do we want? Dead cops? When do we want?
What would we like to happen? First of all, what I've been hearing here, this is the reason why our young people are hopeless in America. Our young people are hopeless because you have all these adults here who are not listening to our young people. They talk about black on black crime in Chicago. I'm from Chicago. My organizing and activism has been on intra-community violence. We understand like what she was talking about. How violence is, we got the point. What I'm trying to say is here, we need to abolish the police. Period. Disarm the police, and we need to come up with community solutions for transformative justice. What we are seeing with all these cases, what we are seeing, can we all agree?
This woman is insane. You abolish the police, you're talking anarchy. You have to have a nationwide security. Otherwise, everybody's just going to do what they want to do. It's insane.
Right? And so we all can agree that the loss of a life is tragic. We all can agree that excessive force and extrajudicial
You represent Black Lives Matter.
By law enforcement needs to be stopped.
If you're a leader of Black Lives Matter, then you show a prime example.
The police force in this country began as slave patrol.
So you show a prime example of how misguided Black Lives Matter is, and I wish that wasn't true, but I mean, when you say things like that.
It doesn't matter what color he was. Doesn't matter who got killed. He killed people.
Is there anybody here who sees that guy as a martyr?
No, of course not.
You don't see him as a martyr.
If he is a martyr, then Dylan Roof, who went into that church and shot 9 people in Charleston, is a martyr. You understand what I'm saying? Are you guys proud of what Dylan Roof did? It's white America. It's white America. It's white America. I'm asking.
No.
What Dylan Roof martyr?
The answer is no. The answer is no. Okay. All right. Hold on. It's crossing over into we don't want it to be Springer-esque, right? We want it to be Kelly Final-esque. Go ahead, Ron Hosco.
We have 15 minutes. We need to talk about solutions. We need to invest in our police like we invest in critical infrastructure. If we don't, our bridges fall, our pipelines blow up, our trains
What do you do about the cops who are racist, who do have a happy trigger
thing? We need leadership. We need to invest in a culture of compliance and constitutional policing, and we don't do it on a shoestring budget where there are too few cops going from 911 call to 911 call, where you can't have Officer Friendly on the street making friends and influencing people because he's in a patrol car flying by to the next call. We have to invest.
I'm just curious for any of the cops here, what you think would happen if we abolish the police force. Well, Tom, you go back there.
All right. First of all, we're not going to abolish it. Let's get back into reality here. We're not going to abolish the police. First of all. Second of all, the shooter in Dallas as well as the shooter in the church are both psychotic mutants. All right. So let's call that what it is. Third of all, we live in still a largely racist, sexist, homophobic society. The police are a subculture within our overall culture. I will always advocate for investing in the police and improved training, but until we root out the cancer of racism in our country, as well as sexism and homophobia, we are doomed as a nation. We are divided instead of
in the front, yes, Emily Campagna.
$1 billion a year right now in our incarceration system, and that's of our $200 billion budget on law enforcement and protection. So right now what I see is a huge discrepancy as well is the poor communities, because they are in turn adversely and greatly impact the minority communities. And so what I see is instead of spending $80 billion on this incarceration system, why don't we shift some of those funds into these drug treatment programs? Because what I saw as a federal attorney is that all of these incarceration does not address the highly addictive, for example, drug abusers. When we have mandatory minimum sentencing,
and there are Republicans and Democrats working on that right now. Bill Stanton, what do you say?
I'll tell you why. Because we're all listening to what we eat. We're listening to ourselves. Nobody is listening to each other. You know what works? Pastor Wesley and I, before the show started, him and I are as polar opposite as we can get on perception and everything. You and I are talking, we're going to go out for a beer. He's a nice guy. We don't have to agree to get along. And we have to listen to what the other person is actually saying.
I've had drinks with Bill many times. I don't recommend it.
Can I please say this?
Go ahead, Leslie.
I want to say this, please. I must say this. We're talking about solutions. I love what he just said. It's time for the police to go in on the basis of their relationship and not the basis of their authority. It is the authority that...
We are seeing more community policing. We are seeing more partnering with the communities. We are seeing it in Dallas.
Listen, I'm from Baltimore. Again, on the ground. I only see that happen, togetherness and relationship, only when the camera's around. What about when CNN has gone away? Fox has gone away. What happened?
Even in Dallas, where those cops were doing that. They were doing that before they were shot down. Yeah, go ahead.
Talk about reinvesting more in the police. How about we divest from the police and take that money and put it into youth programs? We talk about all these crimes and violence in our community. In Chicago, the police spend $4 million a day. $4 million a day, and we're closing 50 schools. The Chicago Police Department takes up 40% of the city's budget. And you look at the violence, we fund the police.
Gotta go. Here's a question. Who can unify Americans when we've already seen, even on this panel, the divisions over this issue? I mean, it gets crazy, but it shows you how deeply the passions run, and this is just a microcosm of what we're seeing in America. Hillary Clinton's answer versus Donald Trump's after the break. Breaking tonight, new reaction to how presumptive major party nominees are balancing praise for police officers while recognizing that many people of color feel unfairly targeted. We're already seeing how Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton plan to address the divide, raising the question, who will be better at unifying our nation? Take a look.
I will bring law enforcement and communities together to develop national guidelines on the use of force by police officers. We will make it clear for everyone to see when deadly force is warranted and when it is not.
We must maintain law and order at the highest level, or we will cease to have a country. 100%. We will cease to have a country. I am the law and order candidate.
We're back now with our panel. Tom, what were your thoughts?
My thoughts are there's too much crime in the black community, too much unemployment in the black community. What we need is major tax reform, and that's what Mr. Trump is talking about. Hillary Clinton wants to raise energy taxes, energy prices, through regulations. That is a racist policy, because blacks have the lowest average income and higher energy profits.
So that's the craziest thing I've heard all night. But
that's nonsense.
Moving on.
No, it's wrong.
Go ahead, Richard Fowler.
You're wrong. No, I'm not going to let you sit here and lie.
Richard Fowler, go ahead. The microphone is yours.
Come on.
Whoa.
Richard, start talking or I'm going to leave you.
Usually he probably thinks I was going to be aggressive first, but hey, whatever.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing. What Donald Trump will do this week, the Bahamas, right? The country of Bahamas issued a travel warning against the United States and telling their citizens that if they come here, they're likely to get mowed down by police officers. If that doesn't tell you that we have a problem in this country, then what will? What will? His reaction is part of the problem.
So many to choose. Okay. In the back, thank you. Maggie Gallagher, go for it.
You know, this is a very discouraging conversation to me because what I see is that 5 cops in Dallas were deliberately targeted. That is an attack on each and every one of us. But a cop was shot in Baldwin, Missouri, in Georgia, in Tennessee. Tonight I see in Michigan somebody grabbed a gun from a deputy and shot 2 bailiffs. The reality here is that what is new and what we have spent no time talking about is that we seem to have created a climate in which it is open season on cops. There is no right to resist arrest. And the struggle...
How about that? Because I'll tell you, Maggie's comments have been reflected on Twitter where people are saying if folks would be more compliant when placed under arrest, even if they're innocent, they would not find themselves the target of police. Go ahead in the front. Let's keep Renata. Go.
I think we all know if Philando Castile was white and he was with his white child and his white girlfriend or white wife, he would be alive today. I think it's open season. It is open season. Excuse me. It's open season on black men because they are seen as objects of fear. No, that's very true. We need to address that.
Rocco, let him respond.
The stuff I'm hearing here tonight is part of the problem. It's part of the problem. Here's what needs to happen. Starting from the top down, starting from the president, starting from Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, the other so-called leaders, Dr. Dre, other professional people and professional black men need to start getting into the communities. Take off the $1,000 suits. The other pastors get into the community and say, hey guys, here's what needs to happen. You need to start getting an education. We need to start looking at the books. We need to start educating ourselves.
I got a heartbreak in 5 seconds.
We need to stop.
We'll be right back.
Welcome to Hannity. The left's war on America's law enforcement is now intensifying. Now, coming up in just a few minutes, we'll check in with Newt Gingrich, also retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, also Laura Ingraham tonight. But first, earlier today, at a courthouse in Michigan, well, an inmate shot and killed 2 bailiffs and injured a sheriff's deputy after stealing the deputy's gun. And over the weekend, get this, 21 police officers were hurt. That was in St. Paul, Minnesota, after being hit with rocks and bricks and glass and bottles and chunks of concrete. Now, cops were also shot at in Chicago and San Antonio Police Headquarters. Multiple shots fired there. Now, in the face of this growing animosity towards police, well, Donald Trump, he is promising to be the law and order candidate. Watch this.
We must maintain law and order at the highest level, or we will cease to have a country. 100%. We will cease to have a country. I am the law and order candidate.
All right, here with Dito, defense attorney Darrell Parks, also Fox News senior correspondent Geraldo Rivera. Let's start with these attacks. Seems to be open warfare on police. Now, here's my question, Geraldo. You've defended the president at times. I would argue we have 3,459 murders that have taken place in Chicago alone during his presidency. But he's only mentioned Chicago 9 times. We have thousands others shot and injured. But if it's Ferguson, he rushes to judgment without any facts. If it's Trayvon Martin, he rushes to judgment without any facts. If it's Freddie Gray or if it's the Cambridge police, he does the same thing. If he really cared about black lives and all lives, wouldn't he be speaking out loudly about Chicago?
That is a good point, and let me just put it in the context of his visit to Dallas tomorrow. When he goes to show his respect, his sorrow over the horrible murders, the savage murders of these 5 cops, he cannot also be talking about Black Lives Matter and the fact that too many black men are being victimized by cops. That is an issue, an important issue, but for tomorrow. He has to act and transmit his feelings in the same way he did in the Charleston, South Carolina church massacre.
Bo Dietl, he met in the Oval Office with the head of Black Lives Matter, what's his name, DeRay McKesson, who's been on this program, and other leaders. And by the way, after the meeting, he praised them. Hillary Clinton praised them. This is the group on tape chanting, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. What do we want? Dead cops. What do we want them now?
Right. What do we want? Dead cops. And we were all here a year and a half ago when he